Okay, well, it's 9 o'clock, so we'll call this Commissioners Court workshop of the Commissioners Court for the budget this year. If you'll all rise for the invocation and the pledge.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I just come to you thanking you, Lord, for all you do for us. Lord, I just ask you just to be with us now as we go into this these budget hearings, and Lord, just give us the wisdom to do what needs to be done for the county, and Lord, just be with each and every one of us as we make our decisions, and that they might be the right one. Lord, just be with our servicemen and women. Just watch over and take care of them and bring them home safely to us. And Lord, we just ask you now just to be with us as we go into this, and Lord, just forgive us where we fail. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. Well, it's the 9 o'clock time slot, so have Ms. Brosnan. Leslie.
Is that on?
Let me start over. Good morning, Commissioners and Judge. Thank y'all for having me this morning as the first person to approach you about what I need for my budget. I have put inside my budget request a couple of pages that explains why, so that y'all can review it later as to what I'm asking for. On the first one, on the travel, office supplies, dues, and bonds, I'm asking for an increase in my travel because the prices of travel have increased and continue to increase. Mileage, airfare, whichever way I'm going, it's going to be more. Also, my chief deputy, which is also my probate clerk, she will require to be going to probate academy every year, and her costs will increase also. So I am requesting that be met for myself and for her. And I also have been selected to be on a what is it called? A committee with the County and District Clerks Association. So I'm required to be there a day early for that, so that is going to require me to be in a room a day more than what I usually am for this next year. The committee is for community outreach programs. I did not apply for that committee. I was selected for it, so it's not something I reached out to increase my budget for. It's something that they felt that I was qualified to do. I am also asking for an increase in my dues and bonds because it has come to my attention that my employees are supposed to be under an umbrella as dues and bonds, so they will require another bond in addition to that. I am not for sure what that amount will be. I have put a double on it just in case it is the same cost to the county. They did say that they will have to be covered under the same amount, but it will be an umbrella amount. So I put that in there. I will not know until I get the information back from them from the application I submitted. I have put that page in there in the handbook also for y'all that Monica has created for y'all for the information on that. I am requesting an increase in office expense because the office expense items have increased also. We're using more paper. We are seeing more people coming into our office, so we are required to have more products for what we need to do. We are using more ink, more toner. There's just different things that my office does. We do a lot. The judge has heard a lot of the things that we've done in the last 2 weeks when he had the people come in from the schools to do their when they went through the county to see what all we do. And I would like to thank you for your consideration for everything that I've asked for that. Now I'm going to go to the line items over what I just spoke about. For the office expenses, I've only asked for an increase of $500. That should cover it because of what I've seen and what we're doing right now, and hopefully that should cover it. If it doesn't, if we do not need it, obviously it's going to roll over. The dues and bonds, I increased it to $3,500 just in case. Hopefully I will know by the time that we come back to court on the 29th to let you know for sure how much that amount will be. Okay, and then, let's see. The next page, there's not an increase. The next page, there's not an increase. The next increase does not happen until where it is software expense. Now, the software expense page, I've asked for an increase in that because I've done my research on the preservation, digital preservation of my records. With that, I had to ask Net Data to give me a quote on what they would do for uploading the digital preservation for our probate and criminal and stuff that we'll be doing and that we have done. Their quote to do what I asked them to do and what they need to do was $31,500. And that just blew my mind because it's stuff they already have set up. And with the company that is doing the digital preservation, they have a program that is called Cyclone, and their ability to upload it and make it easily accessible on the internet and in our office, and for my employees to be able to use for $2,400 a year with no upstart cost. So whenever I do present to you my preservation in August, that is part of that preservation. But the, I'm sorry, I went blank. But the software increases for that because that is going to be the cheapest way for the county to have that available for our people and for the rest of the nation to be able to see online and in our office. I'm trying to save us quite a bit of money, which that comes out of my own budget on the preservation part, but the Cyclone comes out of the software expense. Do y'all have any questions about that? And finally, as you consider the upcoming budget, I respectfully request that you consider a 5% salary increase for my deputies, including my part-time deputy, to help offset the continued rise in the cost of living and to ensure that we remain competitive in retaining experienced and dedicated employees. And I can tell you I have an office full of dedicated employees. Additionally, I am requesting a 25% hour salary increase on top of the 5% office salary request for Kim Leake, my real property deputy. Kim has consistently gone above and beyond her regular job duties by significantly expanding her knowledge and responsibilities within the office. She has cross-trained in all deputy positions and is also trained to perform the end of the month duties in the absence of Paula. To my knowledge, there has not been a deputy within the county clerk's office, including the chief deputy in the past 10 years, who has been cross-trained to this extent. Her dedication, versatility, and willingness to assume the additional responsibilities have made her an invaluable asset to the office and deserving of special consideration. Do y'all have any questions about that? Okay. 25 cents an hour, yes. No, 25 cents per hour, yes. I would also respectfully ask the court to consider aligning the salaries of the elected officials with those of the county commissioners. After the research I've done in the last 2 years on compensation in surrounding counties, I have found that the elected officials and the county commissioners are generally compensated at the same salary level. My request is not that we match the salaries of the county attorney, the sheriff, or even the county judge, but rather to establish a parity among elected officials and commissioners. For your review, I have provided the budget pages from Hopkins County and Bowie County as examples. If the court would like additional documentation from other counties to assist in the evaluation in this request, I would be happy to provide it after court. I can get that for you if you need it. I would like to thank you for your considerations for all the budget increases that I've asked for my office. As our county grows, which we know we are, we have started the process of getting 3 new apartment complexes, which will bring more people into our county, which will bring more births, more jobs, more building, more housing, everything, which will all affect my office, which also will bring criminal and civil, which will also affect my office. If it doesn't start in my office, it will trickle up to my office from the JP Court Appeals, or it will be considered part of my office with the district office from them being misdemeanor or felony accounts. So this is not just me asking for it, this is me asking for it before it becomes a problem with the increase of the population that we're about to have, with the increase of jobs that we're about to have in this county. Do y'all have any questions or comments?
I just noticed you got, I don't know what happened last night.
Wow, that poor legs.
It's his new beauty mark.
I guess so.
The committee that I'm going to be a part of this year, what we do is each conference that we go to, we pick, or the conference location picks somebody to support, and all of the county clerks and district clerks get together, and the people that come to be at our conference get together and they donate money to that. This year we're donating to the Moody Clinic, which helps underprivileged children to get the therapy that they need, the hospital care that they need, the physical therapy, the occupational therapy, speech therapy. So if y'all would like a copy of this to see what we do, we don't just go to learn, we go to help other communities as we go. So that is part of, that is the community that the committee that I will be a part of. So that y'all know that it's not just something that we come up with. We do give back to the communities that provide us availability to learn in their community. If that is it, I will let y'all go on to the next person.
No question. All right. Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome, Judge. And thank y'all for all y'all do. I do appreciate everything y'all do. Y'all do a lot for our county. Not just Mount Pleasant, but the entire county.
Guess you want to slide the microphone. Slide or slide, whichever one you do. 9:15, budget hearing for Mrs. Applewhite in the Treasurer's office.
I forgot to include this. Okay. For the Treasurer's office this year, I just handed you a handout, and I like to see all the elected officials across the board make the same pay. The little handout I gave you shows that if you look at it, Hopkins, Lamar, Red River, Cass, and Wood, all elected officials make the same except for the JP's constables, and most all sheriffs across the board make more money, and we all know that. But as far as the judge, the commissioner, the treasurers, the county clerk, the district clerk, tax assessor, collector, they're all across the board the same. In Camp County, the judge and commissioners all make about $1,300 more, and then everybody else is across the board the same. Franklin and Morris, the judge makes a little bit more than the commissioners, but the commissioners make the same as all the other elected officials. So I'm just saying, if you look at this, every county touching Titus County, you've got Camp, Franklin, Morris, and Red River. They all pay their people the same, period, across the board. So I'm asking that Titus County does the same thing. We all pay the same to run and be elected, and I think that maybe that's just really considerate of all those other counties. But I would ask that y'all would do the same. Also, I'd like for you to look at Franklin County a little bit. Franklin County is a lot smaller than we are, and they make over $5,000 more a year than what we make.
You got a lot more money coming off of Cypress Lake, too.
So, well,
Tax entities.
do what?
They get a lot more money off of their houses over there. Those aren't homesteads on that lake over there. Most of those are out of Dallas. So that
Oh, I know.
their rates didn't go down this year. They're the one county that touches us that didn't go down.
Okay. So, and I added Fannin County in here just for you guys, because in Fannin County, that's who the tax assessor collector and Shirley Dickerson compare a lot of things to, because we have the same parables, they have the same land. They just compare a lot of our things to them, and they're at 75. And they bring in about the same income that we bring in. So I'm just making some points so you'll see where I'm coming from when I'm stating what I'm stating to you guys. Okay. The next is the assistant treasurer. I would like for her to get a 5%, and that would be $2,839.20 for the. But I want to note to you guys, I don't know if you're aware, but this next year, there are going to be 27 pay periods and not 26. So if elected officials do not get a raise, you're taking a pay cut. We're going to take your pay and we're going to divide it by 27 instead of 26. Now, hourly people are going to get paid regardless because they get paid for the hours that they work. So Sharon's going to, so what I'm asking is for a 5%, but to back into what she's already getting. So it would only really total that she would be getting an additional $655.26 for the year, because she's going to get that $2,084 regardless, because she's going to work those hours and we have to pay the hours. So that's where I was coming up. I think if you back into that, or even if you don't, they're getting a raise anyway, because they're going to get, and that equal to be about somewhere between 3 and 5%, depending on what your pay is, what your people's pay is. And then I didn't add any additional funds to any of my other items except my bond, and that's because the treasurer's bond's due every 4 years, and so I have to have a bond. Otherwise, I'm not asking for any more supplies or travel or anything like that. So that's all I have. I appreciate y'all taking into consideration what I've said.
No questions.
Questions? Tell me questions about how she did that to you. Thank you, Ms. Applewhite. Volunteer fire department. Sargo, you want to speak? Let me get to yours. Nortex, correct?
Yes, Nortex Volunteer Fire Department. The only real change I requested for us was looking at our last 3 years of runs, and then since we started paying the $25 a month for training, what that has done to that line item. We've been consistently over that amount, and looking where we're at in the first quarter, run-wise, we're up there again. And so I was just requesting us move to $7,000 in that line item. That would cover our overages that we've been consistently having the last few years. Everything else for us could remain the same, the training, the hose, and miscellaneous equipment. We've been sufficient with what we've been getting there, so really just to quit going over budget on runs and training, just to bring that up to where the 3-year average has been, is what I was requesting for Nortex. I see I didn't fill in every line, but the only change I was requesting was again on line 3, the excess cost to go from 6,000 to 7,000. Okay, like I say that one. For 3-year average, we've been at $6,962.32 on that line, and so again, we've been consistently over by almost 1,000 for 3 years. That's all I have, and I'll let the other departments come up unless you have questions for me.
Thank you, Justin. Mark?
I just wanted to, I clarified this with Mr. Ward. The runs and the training are paid out of 4-1. They're not paid out of each individual. The line item he was referring to is that $500 per month they get for excess. That was a set fee. So I didn't know if they realized we consolidated the run money to pay out of, but I don't see that one in the book.
Mark?
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. The only thing I changed on mine, everything's the same except for on the line items where we normally do $1,000 for hoses and miscellaneous equipment. I requested that go to $5,000. We're getting a new tanker in about October, November. That will equip that truck without me stripping my other truck and give me the ability, Jerry and I have talked about moving a truck to town, an extra tanker, and we can put in the county building out there to where if Jerry needs to go get it during the day, or me that's in town, anybody that's in town, we've got several volunteers for the counties that do live in the city limits. Ronnie lives in town. He's good during the day a lot to go get a tanker, but sometimes time he gets to the tanker, he gets disregarded. So if we have ability to have an extra one sitting in town, Jerry and I have even talked about, him being able to get it and leave town and go to Talco with it, or Sugar Hill, or wherever, not having to go all the way to Tri-Lakes or one of the other departments to get a tanker. So if we can get the extra money, that's just going to help us equip that truck and keep 2 tankers in service to where we have the ability to have one sitting all the time.
Plans to bring one to
the county building, yes, sir. We'll keep our newest one, and our blue truck that we currently have right now will come to the county building out there. And unless somebody has a problem with it, and Jerry and I have talked about that, that just makes it easier for him and me and several of us that are in town to get to that truck quicker.
Quicker the better.
So that's the only increase I had.
Questions for Marcus? Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
Talco. Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
We did not make any changes to ours. We have received the county brush truck, and we are getting that outfitted currently. So we're hoping to have it hopefully ready by the 4th. Is our looking like what we're going to be able to do. It might be a little after that, but we're hoping to have it done by then. So hopefully it won't be too long. We'll have that in service as well.
All right. Same as last year. There can't be a whole lot of questions, I guess. Thank you. Appreciate you coming. Mr. Ward.
Morning. Tri-Lakes is not asking for nothing else on their budget. They're just asking for it to stay the same. That all the BFDs? Everybody done talk?
Mike hasn't spoke yet.
You good?
I'm fine on that for, I think it's earlier for the truck.
Did y'all hear him?
I could hear him.
The only thing I'm asking for, I think it's 9 years or article year for a new truck from the county.
Y'all ready for the emergency management?
Yes, sir.
That ain't no one here from 5 stars.
You got our go on that.
I passed emergency management. East Texas, Texas.
How's that electric bill?
That's super card.
I got 5-star sheet here. It looks like, well, I really don't know what it looks like. He's kind of bumped up several different things. There's only one notation on it. It says miscellaneous radio equipment. So I really don't know. It looks like the 14,400, he's asked to go to 2,400.
Who's this on, Jerry?
Sir?
What company?
5-star. It'll be on a page like that. And then the excessive cost, he brought it down to 2,000 where it was 6,000, so I really don't know what he done.
$13,000 increase.
And then grant match, he's got 5,000. It says miscellaneous radio equipment. So I haven't talked to Lee, I'm not for sure where.
I do know that there's some of the radios that are messing up in the trucks and trying to replace.
Is he looking at a grant through AGCOG, or do you know who he's looking to a grant for?
I don't.
It says here grant, then I don't know if it's a match grant, or do you know anything about that, Jerry?
I know our grants that we got recently, we didn't ask for match on ours there. So, we got a lot of grants coming down the line. We just got some, I don't know everybody else got on radio. Not on the radio, we got our equipment grants. But we didn't go to the court and ask them action for that. You know, we took up all that other stuff.
$13,000 increase. More than $13,000 difference. We'll need to get with him, Jerry. I'm not following this math. That should take care of the volunteer fire departments. All right. Mr. Jerry.
All right, on the EMC, on line item 401, I dropped the line down. That's actually a correction. Instead of 3,000, it should be 1,000. I've asked to bump that up 1,000 for the year. because I have to pay for our emergency alert system for the county, and then I also pay for the active 911, and then the internet that's in the trailer. And them three combined together is $9,957.56. So I asked for another $1,000 for that line item so that we're there. I know HyperReach is probably going to go to $8,000 this year. They didn't go up on us last year from $7,500. They left it, but I'm pretty sure they're probably going to go up $500 on it this year. So I've asked for $1,000 for that line item. The next one down is $495 on the miscellaneous. I added in $12,000 on it. I was looking at maybe trying to get lights and electric over at the building on 899, the lease building, so that we can get a restroom over there and we can do training over there. We have used the extension building on meeting room training, but there's times that we need to get like the trucks in there, get hoses off the trucks, train on the trucks, and first one thing and another. So right now there is 0 lights in that building. There's one plug-in over on the far wall, and we have our command truck and trailer plugged into it, charging the batteries, and then Marcus and them has their rehab ambulance plugged into that one also, and that's all the electric we have in the building. It'd be really nice if we had a restroom in there too, but anyway, that's my second line item. And then the last one, if y'all do not approve the top two, I'd really ask y'all to consider the bottom one. I went to the TDM conference this year and I sat through some classes, and we discussed what happens at the beginning of an incident or disaster, and then as the hours go by, what we need to be doing as emergency management coordinators. I've talked to Nanette, and she said we can do like a 402 line called the County Disaster Fund, and I've asked for $2,500 to be put in there. It's when a tornado or something comes through the county and we have to get out there, or we have strong winds come out and we have to get out there in it. After 4 or 5 hours, you got to feed these people. Jimmy, out there in your area, and we fed y'all that night. Tri-Lakes paid for it. We went and bought 40 hamburgers. We brought them out there and we fed everybody who was out there. You got to feed these people. You got to have water for them. If it's going to be a long-term incident, then we need porta pots out there. You're going to have women out there to help out on search and rescue, whatever it is we're doing. You can't just tell them to go over behind the bus or something. It just don't work that way. And it ain't good for men to do that, because a lot of times you're in a place where there's public around and you can't just walk around the corner like when you're out in the woods. So, you know, if we had a disaster fund set up and we just had $2,500 in it, we can regulate that. If something happens, we're going to go into, let's say, 5 or 6 hours, and we know we're going to be out there several more hours. Yeah, let's buy some hamburgers or some biscuits and sausage or something and feed them. It always starts at the local level, and it's going to finish at the local level. Even though state comes in, you're looking at hours and hours later. State ain't going to feed you neither. Our threshold for Titus County is $155,000. The state of Texas is $555,000. Even we know we meet our threshold, if the state of Texas don't, meet theirs, you probably ain't gonna get nothing anyway. We can ask Nathan, for portable showers and do a star request on it and get it coming in, but someone's gonna have to pay for it. Somewhere, state ain't gonna just give it to us free of charge. Someone's gonna have to pay the bill somewhere. But if we just had a little bit set back to the side, and I talked to some other people out there in Fort Worth and in several counties that have done something like this, and this is where they have access to it if they needed it. So this is the bottom one, be really something that I would really like for y'all to look at a little bit harder, because Jimmy and Joe D, when y'all out there that night, I'm sure y'all starting to get hungry. I know your guys was, and we bought them hamburgers out there, and it kind of helped out. But you don't want to just say, all right, we've been out here for 45 minutes, we're gonna buy everybody a hamburger, we're going home in an hour. No, that don't work that way. It has to be several hours. We can put stipulations on it, whatever it is we need to do, but you gotta take care of your people. And then this includes y'all's people too, because if we have something in the county, you guys are gonna be out there and your crews are gonna be out there. So, you know, we can always send someone to town to get something to eat, or go to Walmart, get, you know, bologna and bread or whatever. But there has to be a fund where we can pay for it.
We voted for credit cards, didn't we? That take care of that. You got the credit card that y'all voted for the other day, then there's your $2,500. There's a $2,500 limit on the credit card.
Whatever we need to do. I mean, it just...
Probably gonna be where we're gonna pay for the credit card out of. You gotta budget some money somewhere. You don't know what it's gonna be each month. I don't know how we budget that, so. I'm not saying that we're gonna have several of those, but the credit card should take care of that. But we need to supply some money set aside for that credit card. But these other credit cards are gonna have to come out of the budget somewhere.
Yes. That's all I got. Anybody got any questions?
I just want to make a comment on as much money as we're paying to rent that fire building out there. It would be wise to ask the landlord if he could possibly mount some lights in there before we spend any money on that.
I already talked to him. He said it's in the contract. It's the county's responsibility for lighting and
He did, okay.
in the restroom. And, I mean, it's kind of like the 25th of this month, we're doing a radio exercise for the COG. We have to set up, all the county people come by and ambulance people come by and, you know, make sure that everyone knows how to operate the radio. Well, I'll be over there from noon until 7 o'clock at night. Okay, there's no restroom, no water there. So, I mean, you either go to the truck shop next door or shut the doors and run to the grocery store or something. But I'm just saying in the future, it'd be nice if we did have. And then also you got to look at too, what if someday the city calls, says, hey, we want our out. The county's going to have to build a fire department there. Well, then you already got your electric in there. You got a restroom for the carpenters to come in and use the restroom. They can plug into the electric when they're building it. So it could come in handy someday.
The lights would be extremely nice, especially when we're winter time. That period work on the light.
Anyway, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. No questions? Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Mr. Coburn's, you can look at it, his budget's gonna be the same. He's at, he said it'll be the same as last year. He's gone on a, either in court or something today. Thank you, Jello.
Leave it.
We'll move on to juvenile adult probation. That's not Shane Wynn, but that's close. Mr. Hartley.
How are y'all this morning?
We're good.
So I don't think we've got any changes. We normally get that $1,000 stipend for like office supplies and stuff like that. Have no change in that. And then I think we had requested $12,000. Excuse me, I ran up those stairs trying to get over here, out of breath, from the pretrial diversion fund to fund charity who supervises that caseload, and we have no change in that either.
And that comes out of that pretrial money, correct?
Yes, that the pretrial probationers pay into. So really it's not costing the county anything. Other than that, that's all we have.
Questions for Mr. Hockaday? You can run back down the stairs across the street. We like your pulse rate.
Can I sit here and catch my breath for a minute?
We like your pulse rate.
Let's run it up those stairs. Said y'all were running early. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Our next one is at 10:15, so I guess we'll stop it and start back up at 10:15 since we're running ahead. All right, well, we've got Sergeant McKinney here, so we'll go ahead and start the 10:15 at 9:55, so we appreciate you getting here early.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any changes or anything that you're looking at in that budget?
No, sir, I appreciate the continued partnership we're going to have with you helping us out with our admin assistant. And if we could just keep it going like it is, that'll suffice for now.
Be perfect. You got the new lady in. And
She is. She's doing well.
good.
Everything's going good.
Going good.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Any questions for Sergeant McKinney? We appreciate you coming.
Yes, sir.
Looks all good.
Have a safe day.
We smile at people who don't want anything different from last year. That being said, at 10:30 is Mr. Ray Barrett.
Ours won't be quite that fast.
There's a microphone there, but the only thing about it, if you turn them both on, it's,
Just get between us.
we know it's gonna get tag teamed today.
Yeah, we always do them together. We have us one right after the other, and we're usually pretty much doing about the same thing. So the first thing that you'll see that's different is, of course, in the salaries and the amount that we put on there. Don't know if that's really a good amount or not, but the reason that we're asking for that is it would help bring the salaries of the elected officials a little closer together. We've got several of the counties around that we know of that their elected officials are making, some of them making exactly the same across the board. We're not asking for that, but we are asking to get a little bit closer with the elected officials, other elected officials. And then also I put on for the mental health stuff that I do for a raise in that. Again, that number is just, y'all are going to do what you're going to do anyway, but I just felt like it needed to go up some. We didn't have a raise last year. We've, and you can, I'm not trying to do all of it, but.
The 10% that you're asking for, Ray, would make y'all making more than commissioners. You realize that? You've got 10% here to make you to go to 71,453.
Right, and that's what I said was that number wasn't, that's just something we put on there. We're not trying to get over the commissioners or anything, so that was just a number we put on there just so we could talk about it today. I didn't know exactly what the commissioners were making, the exact numbers, so that's why I didn't.
Well, the other reason too is we looked at some of the surrounding counties, and some of the ones, for instance, like Hobson County, they're a little bit bigger than us, but they're making quite a bit more. So we were trying to get a little bit closer to some of the other constables in the area that were comparable,
The other thing, or the next thing is we've requested some funding to purchase new body cameras. The body cameras that we have are quite old. They were purchased on a donation from somebody years ago. They don't even work anymore at all. I don't think yours are working at all, are they? And I had to send mine back probably about 2 years ago to have them redone, and they did the best they could with them, and they're not even making them anymore. But we're required by law to have body cameras on. Supposed to really have them on at all times when we're out doing our duties. And we really don't have any right now because the ones that we have don't work at all. The ones that we found, and I put a deal in there that just showing we found some. We don't really need the same thing the sheriff's office has got because we don't really need the software and stuff to have our videos downloaded up through the software. We just need something that we can put the app on our computers like what we have now with these other cameras, that we can just go in if we need to burn a video, a DVD for any kind of evidence, we can do that. So I'm sure they're quite a bit cheaper. The ones we found, $825. There are some out there that are a little more, some a little less. But we definitely have to have those just because the law requires us to have it. We also need new radios, handheld radios. The ones that we have are old and actually even coming apart. Our antennas are literally falling apart. They're just breaking and coming in pieces, and they're old, and they're just not able to do the things that we need. I know the sheriff's office, they got the new handheld radios. I know they're expensive radios. I don't know what all their capabilities are, but we're probably going to need the same radio as far as being able to get into the school and be able to use those radios and get out. If we were to have an incident at the school, if we went in with what we have, we wouldn't be able to even communicate with anybody. So I talked with Chief Deputy Baxter at the Sheriff's Office, and he said that they were about $10,000 per radio, but that was last year's price, so they've probably gone up a little bit. So I don't have an exact number right now what it would cost. I'm waiting on a guy to get back with me that Aaron Baxter talked to. And obviously we're needing radios, one for each of us, and then we need them for our reserve deputies also. And the last thing I think is on cars for our reserve deputies, we have, through the years, we've always used hand-me-downs from the sheriff's office. They're used at the sheriff's office. They're pretty much worn out by the deputies there, and I mean worn out. And they go from there to the jail, and they use them for transports and different things. So by the time we get them, they're literally worth nothing. They don't hold up. You can't trust them to go out on the road and not break down. We've had several of them break down on us. While we're out on the highway, I had one break down on my deputy in Sulphur Springs, blew a motor. So putting money, getting those cars and putting money into them is in my opinion, is a complete waste of time. We have found, right now I don't have a car at all. When Lisa retired, I decided, I don't have a deputy right now, so I just turned her car in to let them sell it off at an auction. It was no good anyway. I couldn't even get it to run. I do have now a new reserve deputy. Brad's got a new reserve deputy. So I don't have a car at all. He has one. That one that he has is about, my deputy's actually using it right now because his deputy hadn't quite started yet, but it's worn completely out. So we have found a place there's several places out there where we can, it's auction where they do just police vehicles, and we found some that are a lot lower mileage than what we're used to getting to from over there. And there's a price range. I mean, they go from, $16,000, $18,000 all the way up to $30,000. So we're not looking for the most expensive. We're just looking for something that's reliable that we can get out there. And these vehicles also are already completely police equipped. The only thing that would have to be done to them would be striping them with our striping, and then having someone mount the radios. And I don't know if the county barn can do that or not, but we already have the radios. We would just need them to be mounted into the cars. But those cars are really, really needed. I mean, we don't have anything that we get from over there. I even talked to the sheriff and asked him if he had anything right now decent that was going to be coming down to us, and he said really everything that they had coming out was just junk. I know you've got some other stuff to talk to them about, but that's all I think we had as far as.
How many miles you got on your truck now, Ray?
I'm sorry?
How many miles you have on your truck now?
I'd have to go look, but I want to say 25,000 maybe, but between 20 and 30,000. But I really just need to go look. I don't remember.
Mine's right at 20. Yes, sir.
I think he got his. Did you get yours later than I got mine?
Chris had it.
Chris, I think he got it later, so he's going to have less miles. And I use mine on the transports and stuff. So.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't
What
have
I'm trying to figure out is when we have to replace those, then we can move that direction.
Right. What are y'all looking at when y'all first started doing this? What are y'all looking at on mileage is when you did want to replace the, did y'all have an idea? Or?
Less than 80 probably, but we hadn't come up with a true figure yet on that, depending on what kind of shape they're in and stuff of that nature. But
Sorry, I mean,
the problem is we've been cut back on our taxable rate this year. It's not going to hit us as bad this year as it will next year. And so when you're talking at raises and things of that nature, you don't have to just pay for them this year. You got to pay for them in eternity. And so that's going to be a hard deal to get to. But go ahead. I just want to know about those.
That's really all I had.
Well, on the patrol vehicles, like for instance, mine wasn't outfitted with a cage. So I'm no help with Ray. Like if he needs someone, like he had something going on, he needed me to transport someone, my truck, I can't take anybody in my truck. So that's another reason why we would need another, or outfit my truck with a cage. I don't know which would be best. I think getting another vehicle would probably be the best route that's already has a cage. But like I said, though, my truck is not outfitted with one, so I can't transport someone to.
So you're gonna start transporting too?
No, I'm just saying,
He's just saying
if he ever.
I can't transport, if I'm doing something different, I need him to do it for me.
Right, but another thing too, though, is I make traffic stops. I've made a couple felony arrests. I just had to put them in my truck, you know, so, and just hope for the best, you know, so. But, so anyway, like I said, my truck is, I'm sorry.
I'd have to look back, I don't know. And they just put a half cage in mine for whatever reason. That's not what I wanted, but that's what, when I got there, that's what was in there.
Because yours took a long time to get that cage.
Yeah, the whole truck, it took them a long time to get everything done. The cage is, it's really necessary whether it's mental patients or if it's people we've arrested, because you just never know what they, I mean, I've had them do some crazy stuff in there. And I know I've told y'all before, you know, Clevie had one take his gun away from him. One time he didn't have a cage. Reached up and took his pepper spray. But I mean, those cages really are important. And I know people think we don't do a lot of it, but we actually do go out and arrest people and all kinds of stuff. I know a lot of people think that we don't do a lot of that kind of stuff, but if you do any of it, it just takes one time to, you know, for somebody.
You can't do like you used to. You can't tie them to the floorboard or nothing like that. You can't hog tie them down, nothing.
Well, not with the body cameras.
Yeah.
So right now, we don't have those. I guess we could. But no, just to hit on the body camera thing, like Ray was saying, it is actually state law now that we have to have these, and we've been out of compliance on that just because they're not working. So that is something that we really, really need to cover us and to cover the county as well. He hit on the vehicles. And then I just wanted to go over the environmental stuff real quick. I don't know if you guys all kind of looked through this, what I put in the packet. But I spoke with a couple of the commissioners, and I've spoken with Nanette and Ms. Dana about doing the permitting in-house. So about me going and getting licensed and us doing that in-house, because I got with them and I started looking at some of the numbers on what people pay per permit and then how much we're paying out to the individual doing the permitting. And I feel like we could save the county a lot of money by doing it in-house. And then with me being licensed, that would also let me go out and inspect these places and issue citations and things like that. So I think it'd be good to have a badge behind that. I don't know if y'all looked at the numbers or if y'all want to talk about those numbers. They're there.
If you looked into the school and all, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's gonna. I have enough in my budget to do that. It's gonna cost me about $600 to get the license, and that's something I can get pretty quick. But like I said, just in looking at what we're going to project to do this year with the amount of permits that we've done, with what I'm proposing that it take as an increase in salary, that alone, just doing it all in-house is going to make the county, you know, $30,000, $35,000 a year, that alone. And so, because I'm not proposing that I take as much as Mr. Stewart's taking. You know, I want this to benefit the county as well.
Questions, guys?
We might possibly think that the sheriff's department might only going to call. So I know they've got three computers, they have 3 cars, but they have not put in service with their.
They got them in service. I think when we met with the sheriff with his budget, they were just getting them put in service.
I didn't know if they might have one.
Because they have to be fully priced out. We had the cars, they just weren't in service. They haven't been finding unit numbers yet. But that, I believe, has been done in the last week per the sheriff. We checked on that.
I bet I didn't know that.
And I'm not looking to just get new cars to get new cars. If they've got something that will hold up, you know, and be worth doing, then I'm all for that. And just in the past, my experience with it so far is that when we get them, you don't know if they're going to make it down the road or not.
Just as a note on that, we normally go to auction with these cars, and when they go to auction, they collectively, what we have in that pool out there brings in about what one of these cars would cost. So it might be more proactive for the county to say, let's go to auction, and auction, instead of giving them, let's auction them all off, and the proceeds from those auctions, and then let them buy it. So then you're kind of paying for it.
Or that's up to the sheriff too, though, what he wants to do
Yeah, I mean, I'm
with it.
just
He gets
saying,
that option.
given that, because a lot of those cars are kind of already.
There's no, in fact, they don't have any extra cars right now.
It's the county money when you go and we get.
They're talking about when they put that three in unit, they can take, I don't know that they're taking them out.
But take them all.
You do all the cars and that.
Yeah. The rain goes out.
Purchase one with that.
They've got
It was just,
Ray, those cars that you were talking about that you had found, do they go through them before they sell them or anything? I mean, do they?
As far as checking them out to make
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't know that for sure. I would think they would, but I mean, that was something I'd have to just get with them and find out. And Brad knows more about that. He's the one that found some of these places that.
Yes, sir.
And
Yeah,
he's
they-
actually bought one, I think, for his
Yeah.
personal use.
Yeah, I bought one from there for my personal use, and I only paid like $10,000 for it. And it had right at 100,000 miles on it. It comes with a limited warranty. I think it was like 6 months, something like that. But I've had it now. I've got 180-something thousand miles on it, and I've not had any issues with it. So when I went down there, I'm sorry.
You got a pretty good mechanic and handyman out there.
Well, yeah, I mean-
It helps you too. You got a little disadvantage.
But yeah, so for that amount that I was able to get that one for, I've made my money twice over on that one, you know, so. But it's like everything else, though. You may get one, as you know, it may.
Yeah, you can't ever tell about a used vehicle. That's
Yes,
for
sir,
sure.
yeah.
And there's quite a few different places like that, auctions, you know, where you can buy from. We'd have to really get in there and research and find out, you know, which one has the best.
Anybody got any questions?
I don't.
Oh, one thing, just one last thing. One thing I did on the radios, I know if we tried to go in and order 4 radios, we're not going to get near as good a price as what, if we, you know, the sheriff's office ordering 30 of them or whatever. I don't know how all that works, but it seems like it'd be better if we could go through, you know, the sheriff's office, get them to order them for us because they would get a lot better price, I think, than we would. I don't know that, but it all be in county and the same, we might get the same price, I don't know for sure, but that's why I put in there that it might be best if we could do it through the sheriff's office to get, you know, get the best price.
I hadn't heard from the sheriff. I think they just got new stuff, didn't they?
Yeah,
Did they not just get new cameras?
Think so.
Last year or year before? When they get their new cameras?
The sheriff got radios last year, they got them in the fall this, well, in the budget, they got them in the fall this past year.
That's what I say.
It was $275,000, I don't have right in my mind how many they got, but I know they use their SB 22 grant to do the safety radios. So
Yeah, Chief Deputy Baxter said, he said he thought it was right around 10,000, but he said that was last year's pricing, so,
I think you're right, I just don't.
yeah. And as far as those cameras go, we don't need what they have because they have to do all the, you know, the software. We don't need all that stuff. We just need something that we can go back to our office if we have some evidence. If we get in a fight or get in a shooting or something, we can go back to the office, burn it on a CD, log it into evidence, and we don't need the elaborate stuff that they have to have, so.
Might get with Sheriff Bragg and see about those radios. I mean, I don't know what we're going to be able to do, but get with him. We've got to have the cameras. We've got to be in compliance. There's no question about that. But with the radios, you're not much good if y'all can't communicate with the sheriff's department and the police department. And Chris and those radios are interlocking with them. The city talked with Rob Vine. They're supposed to be going with the E-Force as well, which is what the sheriff switched over to on their system, so that they'll be able to communicate with each other. And then that way, if we do eventually get to the switching where we've got the one local dispatch, then all radios need to be compliant with each other. So if we do, once we do get to that, to getting those radios, just make sure that we get with Sheriff Bragg and Chief Police and make sure that those radios are what they've got.
Okay.
be easy to check with Annette because we just got them, but make sure that they are the same compatible, because if not, we're behind the 8 ball again. Just got new radios, so. Everybody good? All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.
District judges on the left. Call Kelly and see.
Y'all have a good one.
Guess we'll take another break, waiting on the district judges. They didn't send any packet stuff over, so I don't know if that means they're staying the same. You'll call Kelly and see if Michelle wants to come early. All right, 11:15, Mrs. Michelle Wharton, Elections Administrator.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me come and talk today. In the past, I haven't really ever had to talk as much as I'm going to have to today. So I'm just kind of going to go in the order that I sent all of this over in. The first thing that I wanted to discuss was our compensation review, and I'm just going to read this. It says, when I was appointed as Titus County Elections Administrator in January 2024, prior to that, I served as a poll worker for approximately 20 years, however, whenever my schedule allowed, giving me valuable experience and understanding of the election process before assuming the role. When I accepted this position, my salary was $40,000 per year, and I currently earn $46,100 per year annually. The $40,000 was lower at the beginning because Mr. Rockwell was here training me. Since taking our elections office has successfully conducted 2 historically large elections, a primary, a recount, a runoff election, and all regularly scheduled elections. We currently serve approximately 18,088 registered voters across 19 voting precincts with a staff of only 2 employees. Our office is open 7:30 to 4:30 on all weekdays. We work open to close for all scheduled elections, and we work countless hours after hours without overtime pay to prepare for elections. The responsibilities of our office extend far beyond Election Day. Our responsibilities for ballot design, programming, and printing. We do all the programming and testing of all the election equipment, coordinating election judges and poll workers, managing the early voting ballot board, central count committee, post-election hand count audits, administering election judge oaths, coordinate with polling locations for usage, and ensure all polling locations have the supplies necessary to conduct elections properly. We have also worked with our law enforcement and emergency management coordinator to ensure safe polling locations for voters and to have generators ready to deploy in case of emergency situations. We are also responsible for submitting all election records to the Secretary of State and the entities requesting the elections. We file and store all records for the retention period as well. In addition, I also secure and administer Chapter 19 and other election grants. We attend the annual Texas election law training to maintain compliance. We attend meetings with the Northeast Texas Association of Election Administrators and work closely with neighboring counties. We also train all election judges and poll workers through 3 or more training sessions each year. These trainings are a minimum of 2 hours in the evenings or weekends. We coordinate student election workers through our local schools and train them separately to assist the election judges at polling locations. We prepare compensation records for all election workers to be submitted to the auditor's office for payment. On the voter registration side, we process voter registration and DPS updates, maintain voter roll accuracy, review local obituaries and county death records to remove deceased voters, process ballot by mail applications, answer voter inquiries, respond to public information requests, and coordinate voter registration card mailings to all county voters every 2 years. One of my most significant accomplishments since taking this position was developing a program to identify and correct voter boundary errors. Through that effort, more than 1,000 voter records were corrected, ensuring voters were assigned to the proper districts and precincts. This program is now utilized by multiple departments and can be used by all Titus County citizens to see what precincts they live in. I spoke with the state capitol in May at an election hearing and will be returning in August to testify on behalf of Titus County regarding SB 2753 and the detrimental impacts it would have on Titus County. I am requesting the election committee to consider putting a population limit on the bill of over 50,000. That would potentially save Titus County over $40,000 on just the cost of additional poll pads. In addition to my election responsibilities, I also oversaw the creation of the new Titus County website and currently serve as the county's primary website administrator. This responsibility was not originally part of the election administrator position. I handle website updates and information requests submitted by county departments, maintain election notices and public information postings, emergency updates, job postings, and will be responsible for coordinating the county's ADA website compliance requirements before April 2026. That was actually, they have changed that date now to 2028, so we do have longer. I just found that out recently. To improve communication with voters and reduce advertising costs, I created and managed the Titus County Elections Facebook page. Through that page, I provide timely election information to the public and share information with local media outlets. This has helped reduce the reliance on newspaper advertising, which was costly and only reached the public once per week. I've also completed a salary comparison of Texas counties with similar voting populations. Titus County currently has approximately 18,000 registered voters. Comparable counties with similar voter populations pay election administrators between $51,000 to $68,000 annually. My current salary is $46,100 and is the lowest of all comparable counties in the state of Texas. Likewise, our deputy election clerk currently earns $37,128, which is below several comparable counties serving similar numbers of voters. Based on the responsibilities of this office and accomplishments achieved over the past 2 years and additional county website administrative duties I have assumed, the salary comparisons with similar Texas counties, I respectfully request consideration for adjusting the election administrator salary to $55,000 annually, along with a $5,000 annual stipend for county website administrator responsibilities. I would also respectfully request consideration for adjusting the deputy election clerk position to $45,000 annually to better reflect the responsibilities required to operate a two-person election office serving more than 18,000 registered voters across 19 precincts. I am proud to work for our office and have accomplished and maintained committed to providing accurate, transparent, and efficient election services to the citizens of Titus County. Thank you for your time and your support on this consideration. On the next page, this was a handout that I had made that has some of the highlights of what I had said, and on the second page of it, it does have the comparable counties down there from Llano down to Uvalde, and our population falls in the middle. The salaries they are the least out of all of them. So those are handouts that I had made for you just as have the information easier to look at. Another thing I wanted to talk about today was Senate Bill 2753 and the impact on Titus County elections. Historically, Titus County has always had separate elections. You had Republicans on one side of the room and Democrats on the other side of the room. Well, we only have 20 poll pads, and so at the end of early voting, You would find out who all had voted, you would print these reports. Half of the precincts would get a poll pad for Election Day. The other half are going to get a combination form that has all of the ones who had voted on there and who can still vote. When 2753 goes into effect, there will no longer be a 3-day gap between early voting and Election Day. So by that going away, on Monday night when early voting ends, we would not have time to print those reports and get them to the judges before voting starts the next morning at 6 a.m., which would cause us to have to buy 20 more poll pads. Recently, I did talk to Senator Bob Hall, and he is one of the creators of the bill. And he said that we need to reduce the number of polling locations and that we need to not have joint to have joint elections instead of separate elections. That was his only answer to fixing it. We will be having 2 new chairs, Republican and Democratic chairs. I want to sit down with both of them and see if we can come to an agreement to have joint elections for the first time in Titus County. If we can do that, that cuts out the issue of the $40,000 for more poll pads. 20 poll pads would cost $40,000 for the taxpayers. Those 20 poll pads will sit on a shelf and be used 3 days before they are obsolete, because they would only be used during a primary election, and that's the only time they would ever be opened. And so by the time they're 6 years old, the chances of them being obsolete is pretty good. So they would actually be used for 3 days for $40,000, and then we'd have to turn around and do it again. So I'm proposing to the county chairs to hopefully be able to do joint elections. If that is the case, then we won't have to worry about that. We are still going to have to worry about the loss of the 3 days between that. We are now going to have to turn our early voting location into a precinct. So Shepherd Street Church of Christ will now be voting at the early voting location on Election Day. There won't be a gap in between, so we're going to have to swap everything out from early voting. Well, not swap it out. I mean, it'll just kind of blend into Election Day there. But I won't have the room to do everything that we have to do for early voting ballot board and all the things that we have to do to prepare for the elections. All of that will have to be done across the street in the storage room, and so we are going to have to get some more ADA compliant space for that to be able to happen. We've talked about the different options. One of the things is the restroom, where it's going to have a restroom and better lighting and that kind of thing in there. As far as space, we're going to try to clean out some of the old things that we don't use in there anymore and create some space like that and take some of the equipment possibly over to the barn and store there. Facility remodel, personally, I'm not opposed to putting a doorway into the room that's in front of ours up there. That has a restroom, and that would work good for us, but that's completely up to y'all as to how you want to do the remodel. Staffing, how that will impact us is if I'm across the street and I'm over there having to prepare and do all those things, Kelly usually goes home at 4:30, and then I'm there until I need to be there and I leave. She will no longer be able to do that as much because she's going to have to be there to keep the office running while I'm across the street preparing everything. So she's going to have more comp time probably because of that. And I mean, we'll work it out as much as we can to try to make sure that she doesn't have too much, but I mean, that will probably increase some of that on her. One of the bigger things is the loss of revenue on the May elections. May elections are only required to be done on odd number years and for the municipalities. And so we've historically always done them whenever they wanted to, any year. Well, after they started doing the post-election hand count audit, you have so long after the election, you've got, if there happened to be a runoff from the primary that's at the end of May, and you've got that May 2nd election, then, I mean, you're going to be really rushing it, trying to get all that post-election hand count audit completed, and if there happened to be a recount and all of that stuff, I'm honestly not sure I could get a runoff completely prepared the way it needs to be with just 2 people and trying to get all that done that quickly. And so because of the manpower and the time that, the short time between the May 2nd election and a runoff starting, I don't think that we would be able to host May 2nd elections or the municipality election the first part of May on even-numbered years after a primary. And you can't really say for sure that you're going to have a runoff until the election starts, but you won't know. They have to start giving me all that information in February, and that's before, so I can't tell them that, well, I won't be able to or I would be able to. I just wouldn't be able to because I wouldn't be able to prepare for it.
You talking about school boards and
school boards, water, hospital, yes.
In the city?
In the city, yes.
So they'll have to run their own?
They could run their own, and I told them that I will be happy to train their workers if they wanted to do that. I would help them as much as I could, and I could probably come up here, on the weekend and run if they wanted to rent the equipment, I could run it through to get their numbers and everything at the end. And I told the schools that as well. They've said that they may look at that option, and so.
Did the schools, the bond issue, we didn't run it for Harts Bluff. Harts Bluff ran their own, right? They all voted out there and all.
They did it, but they came through us to get all the equipment. They rented everything, and we did their ballots and all that. They just ran it out there. So, we did our own workers ran it and everything. It was just ran there at Harts Bluff.
Okay. But our workers, we did get compensated for it.
Yes.
But are we still going to be able to do that with this new SB 2753?
I wouldn't be able to be as hands-on with it as I was during that one because the schools are now going to have to do their own post-election hand count audit if they do an election on their own. If I'm handling it, I'm responsible for it, and I just wouldn't have the time to do all that. But if they want to handle it, I will assist them and train them on how to do it. It's just that I won't be able to be as hands-on as I was during that one.
We're just going to get with them and let them know.
Yes. I have talked to them. Superintendent Rice has been at my office, and we've discussed all that. And I've got some numbers going over to Chapel Hill this week to give them an idea of what it's going to cost if they want to move the election to November instead of doing it in May, because that will cost them more money to run it in November than it would in May, because your early voting is longer hours and that kind of thing, and they have to do the same as what anybody else is going to be on the same ballot.
As Mount Pleasant and Chapel Hill did what they want to do. I know what they want to do. They want us to continue to run it.
Well, they do. Mount Pleasant, though, in the past, they would choose several different polling locations in the county. They are going to move it to just the Civic Center. So that is going to help them tremendously. I think I could help them enough that they could probably do it on their own if they absolutely had to, and if they're only going to have one location. So.
We should have a meeting with Northeast Texas Community College coming up in the next 30 days. We meet with Kevin and all the superintendents and Dr. Rose and all of them, and I'll bring this up at that round table.
And if I need to be there, I can come up there and talk to them about what the new guidelines for SB 2753 are on schools as well, because the schools I've talked to were not aware of any of those changes.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. And like I said, once again, the rural people are going to get hit in the head with it. So.
Right. One of the other things that I've been doing, when I first started working here, we had a website that was not compliant, and so we moved to a TAC website to be more ADA compliant and be able to do the things we needed to do in-house on there. During that time, I post the reports for the treasurer and county clerk's office, and I do the job postings, directory updates, anything that needs to be done in-house. I do emergency notes across the top, anything like that. And so I've been doing all that just because I kind of was in the beginning, and I trained on all of it, and so that's why I've been doing it. I don't mind doing it. It's not a problem, and it hasn't caused any problems doing that. So if that is something you want me to continue doing, I will be happy to do that. I did put in there for a stipend of $5,000 to be added to my compensation for that, because it is time-consuming at times to get some of those things done. I do spend a significant amount of time working on the website. A lot of it does have to do with elections, but I do work with the other offices as well to make sure that the website is up to date. And we have an ADA compliance coming up that is the DOG, and they are wanting it to be more accessible. The TAC is working on getting us ADA compliant, but the price of TAC for the website is going to be going up significantly January 1st. Our price has been, I believe it was $4,200 a year, and now it's going to be raised to $13,200. When I went out and I looked at websites, I was shocked at what TAC was charging. That was way under anything I could find. So at $13,200, it is a huge jump, but it's still lower than most of the prices that I saw anywhere else. And I feel like they know what counties need, they know what we have to be ADA compliant, and I'm comfortable with them being able to help us when we need help with it. So, I mean, I feel like they've done a good job.
Everything I've seen on those that they're sending me on us to sign up, then double and triple that figure.
Right.
At least.
Yes, and especially with this ADA compliance coming up, there's all these other things they're wanting to, add to it. That's going to cost, a price in itself to add to whatever price they're giving us just to build a different website. Most of them want us to have different names and different things like that. TAC is, they would like us to change our domain name more than anything, just to be able to make it easier for us. It would be tituscounty.gov instead of the co.titus.tx.us, which is cumbersome. So, that is an issue that we are going to be facing, is that the website will be going up. I put the numbers in there so you could kind of see the pricing on that. Then the ADA compliance in itself that's going to be required, they have backed up to 2028. The thing about that is we need to jump on being able to get this done, because everybody has to be compliant by then, and so we're going to be in line. So we're going to have to hurry up and get on the list. One of the things that he had said that we do need to add is this. It's like a little toolbar that's going to be over on the side, and it makes it easier for people with disabilities to be able to change the font, change the contrast, and those types of things. That is something that they're looking for when the DOG goes to our website. They pull it up. They're going to be looking for those kinds of things to make sure that we are ADA compliant. That is going to be an additional cost, a different tier to what we're asking for, but that is something that they are looking for. So that is something that we're going to need to consider when we decide what package that we do go to. Let's see. There is another package that I would like to look at when we do look at those. That is, it creates an agenda. I don't think we would want to change it for the county clerk's office, because the way that theirs is set up, it has a search bar down there, and I can put in, anything that I want to look up, and it will pull that up. This isn't going to do that. It's not going to be searchable, so that's not going to help them anymore. But it would be helpful for the elections office, because I could put in 2026 elections, and I could post all my notices and all the agendas and everything on there, sample ballots, and it would be very clean and look really professional on there. Right now it gets kind of jumbled because of all the notices we have to post. So that might be a package that we could look at for our
What budget
office.
is that coming out of, that webpage? Where is it coming? It's not coming out of her office.
No, it comes out of that 503.
503.
And there was something I wanted to add to that. And this is only because I 100% support the work that you've done on the website. It's amazing. I think we have a great website.
But there's all this being in compliance that we're needing to do to be in compliance. And I go to all of our neighboring counties, and they all have their own websites like we used to have. So what is the repercussions to the compliance? That's what, I mean,
From 28, that you don't have to be on it until 28.
so the compliance that we're working towards is the 2028 compliance.
Yes.
So the website that we designed, what was it, a couple of years ago
Yes,
when we did it?
2.
Was to get us to that 2028.
No, it was to get us into compliance.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
as of right
I'm
now.
wondering why, I've gone and tried to search other counties, like ours, we have an awesome website, and I keep thinking, why are their websites not providing the same information our website provides?
And a lot of them that are that far behind are being sued because they
I didn't know,
yeah.
because we don't, sometimes they say repercussions, where you're like, what are
Right.
the repercussions?
I know that there was a county, I think it was down around Austin, that in the last year that was hit with over $100,000 lawsuit because you couldn't get to something quick enough, the ADA. Right.
Which we have an awesome website, I'm 100%
Yes.
supportive of it, I think it's wonderful, but it was like surprised, if I went to another county to try to do searches and stuff locally, like we do, to see how it's not there.
Now, that search, the search on our county clerk website, that is something that Leslie has outside of our website. That is a vendor that she uses to be able to do that. It is very awesome, and that is not something that everybody has. That is an extra, so.
Yeah, I mean, I've used it, and that's why I'm saying, if I go to try to search the same thing, and they don't even have the minutes out, I mean, they don't have anything.
Right. Ours is working worlds better than most. Yes, yes. Thank you.
When you said the repercussions, there's some company.
Yes, they can, if somebody wanted to sue, they could if it's not in ADA compliance. So they can sue the county if it's not. But I mean,
And
it's
one
a.
more note, you guys might not have noticed this, and you didn't bring it in. She has a part-time salary that she moved the items that she wanted to move up to other, she reduced a line item in salaries to make amends for the other items. So the net effect is not that large of an increase, because she reduced one, and I didn't want you didn't mention
Yes,
that.
oh, okay. Thank you, thank you.
You were moving money from one line to
Yes.
the other to compensate.
Yes, yes, we had that part-time salary in there. I believe that was part of the Mr. Rockwell's salary when I first came. And we don't really use that very much. It's been used, I think, one time since I've been there. And so I reduced it down to $3,000 just in case we needed students to come in on a big election to help us. We would have that there to be able to help us. The students were wonderful. I do definitely feel like that is a great asset. So I did reduce that down to $3,000 from $14,300. So that will help on the cost change. One of the other things on the website that they sent us is, I don't know how many county offices are using Acrobat Pro. I have to use that a lot in the things that I do, and when I went and priced it, it was going to be over $200 if I just went out on the website and bought it from there. And if we get it through TAC, they can do it for $85 per license. So that's something that everybody wants to take into consideration to start using. And there's some things in here about the Acrobat Pro as well. One of the other things, like I said earlier, is the domain name. If we would want to change that, I know that would change, stationery and business cards, all the things that it would have to be changed on, so that's a consideration in that. But it would be easier to give out our website and our emails to everybody.
In reference to that, Michelle, CARROLL is on the next agenda in order to present to the court what that means. They were asking me what we wanted to do, and I said, just make an agenda item and put it on the agenda and present it to the court and let them decide, and so they'll know the full plan. So the court is addressing that domain change at the next court agenda, just so.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. So that is all I had to discuss today. I appreciate everybody taking the time to listen to all of that. I did, like Nanette said, I did reduce the cost of the part-time and the Chapter 19 funds that are down there, it has $7,124.31. We are being reimbursed that amount on the backside, so that amount I have we are getting grant money to cover all of the travel expenses for Kelly and I to be able to go to all of our trainings and all of that, and a lot of supplies that we need for registration for the office. So we have applied for all that grant money to be reimbursed. So.
I'm good. Questions?
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Ward.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think she had a phone call. Picked it up all morning. Actually.
You ready to roll?
Huh?
You ready to roll?
I'm ready. Yes. I keep eating, I'm gonna roll all over the place.
Steve Bacon, 11:45, and then we'll come back to Ms. Irma at 11:30. Waiting on you. There's a
Okay,
microphone. Make sure you got that microphone close to you so everybody can hear it. It's recording.
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay, now.
All right. I'm asking for my budget to increase for salary for the JP from 64,138 to a maximum of 70,000. And for the deputy clerks from 80,808 to 85,808. And part-time employees, if it should happen, from $368 a year to $1,000 a year. And basically, that's it.
Any questions for Mr. Agan?
None at all.
Any questions?
No.
Okay.
No questions.
Thank you.
Email addresses will go to that, and so only we can do lines we can update. It's not, I'm gonna let FEILEN better, because that was my concern, was anything this forward. Even having the wrong address, I didn't want it to get confusing, so. That's why I'm going to record this operation.
Ms. Irma got called out on a JP deal there at the office, and so she's going to come back in the morning at 9 o'clock to finish her up. So that'll conclude everything for this morning's budget workshop. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Mitchell. Second. Second by Commissioner Parchman. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? We'll adjourn at 11:05. Thank you.